So I goofed and we started doing this without recording, but I'm going to show you. Take the screw cap off here and pull the old out. We've already done that. You'll come down through the menu and prime rewind. That's what you come to every time you do a site change, or if you get an error that says, you know, pump not primed, randomly it decides to do that and throw us a curveball. And you see how some of them are filled in? It's to let you know what you've already done. We've already rewound, which means we're pulling the plunger back that comes up through the cartridge to push the insulin out. And we loaded a cartridge, a new cartridge, but I'm going to back up and do that for you. I'm going to show you what it does when we hit rewind. Come up and select go rewind. Make sure every time you're disconnected already before you do this. So then go rewind, and you'll see it starts bringing arrows across to let you know it's pulling that plunger back. While it does that, I'm going to get our new cartridge ready. This is what you get, what comes across once you have the plunger pulled back and all. You can hit continue once you have your cartridge ready. We're going to set this aside and pull out. Haley, go ahead and pull it out. This is the little kit bag that I told you that we made. It has the reservoir cartridge, as we call it, the tube kit, as well as the inset. And I also include the alcohol wipes, an adhesive remover to get the old one off. And there's also an IV prep wipe, a skin tack, or whatever term you use. So here's what we need first. This has our needle tip, our reservoir cartridge, the plunger, and it has this little cap. And once you fill your insulin up, before you connect it to the tube, they say put this cap on there. We've got to where we don't feel that's needed as we do it right at the same time. So we take the needle back off and hook it straight to the tubing. I'm going to let Haley go ahead and open that. And of course they preach to watch where you touch and make sure you're not gonna, touch right here on the very end where the needle's gonna attach, just to prevent contamination. So Haley, go ahead and stick the needle tip on there. And it's just a screw lock. You just twist on. And the plunger tip here, I don't know how well this will show up, but it kind of has these teeth that bite in to the bottom here. And Haley can put that on for us. And the first several times we did this, I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, because when I would go to pull on the syringe, it would pop back out. But if you take and kind of try to twist it, and if it doesn't come out, then you know it's locked in. I just wasn't getting it in the right, let me see if it'll focus, in the right little, see these little empty squares? I just wasn't getting it in the right groove at the time. Now, these O-rings here, they say to cycle this through, 2 or 3 times, just to make sure the O-rings are sliding in the cartridge. That way, if you put it in the pump, you have insulin in it. Well, the plunger is supposed to be able to, start pushing the insulin in. But they want, to kind of make sure it's moving freely before you take it for granted that it's going to. So Haley, go ahead and cycle it for us.
2 or 3 times?
Mm-hmm. And the pump will randomly do that. Just ignore it. If you're pulling insulin out of a vial, the same thing applies when you use your syringes. You need to put the air in to the vial and then pull the insulin out. But if you're using it, drawing from like an old insulin pen or something, you don't have to do that, as it doesn't have like the vacuum that these vials do. So you can tell we've already got a few air bubbles in the vial. So when Haley puts the air in here, she's going to leave it standing straight up to do that. And then the slower you go with putting that air in there, the less of all those little bubbles you're going to make. And it's harder to get those little bubbles out if you get them in the cartridge. So sometimes you have to start from scratch, start all over. And I think Haley forgot to wipe her vial off, so she's going to get her alcohol pad and wipe that off. So what she's doing right here is the incorrect method, as half of her fingertip is on the top of this vial while she's doing it. And when you flip it over, it's gonna feel a bit oblong, like you kind of have to hold the whole apparatus, or really just awkward in your hands. But don't feel you need to hold the vial. The needle is a thick gauge. It's not gonna break off or slide off as you start drawing, or it's, one hand on the cartridge and one hand pulling back the plunger, and it'll be fine. It feels really awkward until you really get it, but go ahead and flip that, Haley. Or you don't have all the air in it? Well, go ahead and put your air in.
I'm doing it slow like you said.
I know, but... And of course, the same when you're doing your syringes, it kind of automatically starts the vacuum. Watch your pinky, Haley, so they can see that. It kind of automatically starts pulling the vacuum as it, you put that, change the air pressure inside that vial. So go ahead and there goes the pump again. She's going to go ahead and pull to where we use. I know not everybody has the same insulin needs, and sometimes we waste more than we use, and sometimes we have to change early. Sometimes it feels awkward to give it a thump like that with the vial on top of it, but it's perfectly fine. You're not gonna hurt anything. And you see, let me see if it'll focus good. Okay, that's a good shot. You see, it's pretty free of air bubbles here. She's done a really good job. There's some at the top, so she's gonna try to get that out. And I've been known to kind of let those air bubbles come out like that with the cap still on. So I don't really see a benefit to taking the cap off or leaving it on. There's no benefit either way. It's just what we've done. So now we got our cartridge filled up, and it's still in this form with the needle and plunger. We're just going to set it aside, and Haley's going to open our tube packet. In the tube packet, there's, of course, the tubing, and it automatically has this cap on the end of your set right here. And that cap joins with this end. And this end, excuse me, pump again. Now this end is what goes on her body and plugs in to the site she has when she gets in the shower or things like that, when she needs to disconnect. So we always keep these paired up. That way we always have one to go on the set and one to go in her body. We have these things in just pretty much every room in the house. And bathroom drawer, the diabetes stuff, one in her kit bag. You'll collect these like crazy. You'll never want to throw them away because they'll never keep up with them. So every one you get, save. They're precious. They also have, let me see, where's the cap thing?
Cap? It's right here.
Oh, no, I wasn't meaning this cap. Sorry.
Oh.
Excuse me. In with the cartridge is this cap here. And you can take, this is what I was talking about, is you could take and unscrew the needle and put this on there if you're going to set it for later. So we're going to do that because we had already done a cartridge. So we're going to set this one up so we can just store this one in the butter dish, as we already have another one ready with insulin and all. And I'm going to say she can leave that plunger on there, because with it being in the butter dish, we might have some more air bubbles that we might need to shoot out of it when we change next time. Now we're ready to get our screw cap, our tubing, and the cartridge all connected. And the tubing end just clicks on there the same way the needle does. It just kind of sits on there and twist locks. And it's only really about a quarter of a turn, but it's still very secure. So what we didn't show you is her taking this off. There's these little pinchers on the side that allow it to come out. Once you have it all ready, you can go ahead and slide it back, because our pump is rewound. So we can slide it in there and attach our screw cap. And don't mind my mama snoring in the background. We've had a rough couple days. Very little sleep. So now that she has her new cartridge in here, we can go back to the menu. And this is what you always see on the front of it. The face value is always going to be the same. Have your basal rate and how much insulin is in the pump. Right now, it's saying 206, not because there's 206 units in here, but because the plunger is all the way back right now. So go to menu, prime rewind, and we're going to load that cartridge that we just put in. We're going to continue. And it's going to be pulling that plunger back up to meet the end of the cartridge. And it'll be able to read how much is in there based on how far that cartridge moves up. And Haley is not playing with a hot glue gun in the back. It's cold. Ignore that. So it tells me we have 163 units in here. So we're going to continue. We need to prime it. And when we prime it, we take the cap off. Haley, take your cap off. And hold that there. And I'm going to see if I can get this for you. When you get to this stage and you go prime, you need to press and hold the OK button until you see as many drops as you need. And they told us to wait until you see 3 to 5 drops come out of the end there. So I hope we can see the insulin come through. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick that up. But I'm going to go OK to prime. And there were some air bubbles that we didn't catch, so there's that. And it tells me that we primed 16 units, so we just wasted 16, but
that's fun.
We're at the fill cannula stage. We can't do that until she gets her set on. So we're going to show you next how to take the set off, or what she does anyway, and how to put a new one on. Now, this is her old set we're about to take off, and the camera doesn't want to focus here for some reason. But you can see, of course, the little marks. Those are just old sites that haven't quite healed up yet. But Haley has gotten in the habit where she doesn't want to use her remove wipe. She just kind of yanks it off. But I'm not going to let her do this time because I know you want to see this part. So we peel it back, and you can see. Let me see if the camera will focus. Let me see if the camera focuses in on this. And there's your little cannula. So she's going to get her site cleaned where she wants to put it now. And I'm going to show you something they told us to do. Actually take your alcohol wipe and start in the middle of where you want. And come outward, overlapping in circles. And that way you know you haven't gone over clean spots, you know, as you go. So she's going to do that, and then she's going to take her skin prep and go ahead with the skin prep. And if you use these, let me show you, I didn't get to show you what kind we used. If you get these, be aware there's lots of, doesn't want to focus, Smith and Nephew is the brand name of the skin prep. But if you use these, be aware there's lots of liquid inside. So when you open it, make sure you open it kind of over a nice surface, not over your good clothes or anything, because you kind of get like a little greasy oil stain on them. So there we go. There's the good clarity. So this is what we use. They work really, really well for her. With our Dexcom, she would be lucky to get a day in without these. So we've come to use these with the Dexcom. We have to use KT tape as well, but with our pump, we find that this is just enough. But, so go ahead and prep your area. And one thing we like to do after she wipes the area with skin prep is she'll wipe another little swatch somewhere else on her stomach. And the reason we do that is we can touch that area to feel how tacky it is, to feel if it's ready for us to do it without having to touch where she's going to be actually placing her site. And just give it just long enough to be tacky. And I'm going to fill up here where she did that. It's still really, really wet, so I'm going to give it just another minute to kind of get tacky. Quit rubbing it in, hey? And that feels good to me. So we're going to pause and get our set ready. Like I said, we had already opened one, so I just wanted to show you. I'm not sure how far y'all have gone or what all you've seen, which videos you've seen, but you take the wrapper off kind of just like a cigarette package, really, and then the paper wrapper. And Haley has done that to this one already, but she went ahead and pulled this back to cock it. And I like for her to wait to do that until we actually get this open. You kind of gonna have to manhandle these if these are the insets that you have to get them to come open. Haley, go ahead and try to open that case and show what I mean. You can rock it back and forth and get it to pop loose. There we go. Okay, now.
Oh, this is usually on there.
This is usually right over the needle here. So you might have this thing that you would need to pull off, but it kind of fell off since she cocked it beforehand. You want to remove this top sticker. Go ahead and remove the sticker, hey. Pull that sticker off. And then they tell us they want you to kind of tuck the paper back onto the thing like that. So you, just whenever it goes in, you can kind of lay it how it needs to go. And actually, looking at this one, we had a bit of a situation. Let me see. I want to show you this because this happened to us, I don't know, maybe the second or third time we did a site change. I don't know if you can see how the needle, you see the plastic shield is over the needle. I really want to show you this. I'm going to try to focus it. So bear with me. Because I threw one of these away one time when we had this happen. I considered it like a misfire almost. Please stop, Haley. Okay, you see how it comes in and you see the plastic kind of coming down over the, where it's not needle exposed right there. So they told me when this happens, I'd asked them if I could just try to pull that kind of back, work it back, and they said there's no reason why you couldn't. So I'm going to pause now and try to do that so I don't have to throw this one away, and then I'll show you what I come up with. Okay, sorry. So what I did, I was able to do it, and you can see there's needles sticking out now. I went ahead and pressed down here to fire it, and then I just pulled back on both sides right here of this part to kind of try to slide it back onto the needle a bit. So now I'm going to have Haley cock it and reset that sticker for us. All right. She's going to go ahead and lay that on her. And they say make sure you keep a finger on either side on those feet, if you will. And on my count, Haley. 1, 2, 3, go. She's going to lay that sticker down and then put her fingers on either side of where the needle's in at, not right on top of it, and then just start sliding back. And that needle comes out. Just set that down. And then she's going to press down again, just kind of making sure that all that was nice and smooth, and taking this other part of the sticker off and getting it laid down real nice. So now I'm going to have Haley take that cap off of her tubing and go ahead and get it hooked up to her. Alright. And on the pump, every time, even if you're in the middle of the setup, you have to come back to the main menu if it times out on you. So we're going to go back to the primary wind. We still need to fill the cannula. And I believe these are 0.70. It'll always tell you in whichever inset pamphlet that you get, because some people would have different insets. But it'll always tell you what your rate is. And I believe it's 0.70, but I know 0.05 isn't going to do anything. So, because I can't remember exactly, but I know it's either 7.0 or 7.5. I'll just go ahead and do 7.5. And this is just filling the cannula that went into her body from the needle. We primed, so the end of the little cannula part of the set is ready, but you have to push a little insulin. You know, when you prime, you're putting the insulin through this needle-like portion here. But that's not actually going in her. So we do this last step to put insulin into this part. So that way when you dose for 1 unit, if you didn't do this, there would be so much lag and air right here that if you push 1 unit in, well, 1 unit isn't going in her because it had to push maybe half a unit of air away. So now we are ready to go. There's nothing else to do, but Haley has to check her sugar. She's running really high. Dex keeps going off. So I'm going to let her check her sugar. And since y'all are getting the ping, I want to do that on here and show you using the meter remote to do this. So I'm going to pause for a second and let's get all that set up. So she's getting everything ready. She's already got her strip in. And the pump didn't turn on. The meter, oh, there it goes. You'll see the match code, and you have to match the code on the bottle 25. Here lately, all of them have been 25. We haven't seen a single one that's not since starting with this pump. I do find that this one takes a decent, not a ton of blood, but more than, you know, the Freestyle Light or just the Freestyle did. So 364. And we see let me see if this light's in the way. We have a bolus, so we need to go ahead and bolus. If we were having carbs now, we would go ahead and go to easy carb, and you can treat for blood sugar and for carbs there. But since there's no carbs involved, we're going to go to easy BG. Actually, I'm going to back up, and I'm going to go to easy carb. And I'm gonna walk through it, but I'm not gonna actually administer any. But I want to show you one really neat thing that I didn't quite get that it would do. So I'm gonna say 10 carbs, and for this time of day, and it changes depending on what time of day you are. You can preset those. Right now, her ratio is 1 unit to every 12. So I'm gonna do that, and it'll have add BG. So I'm gonna do that, and as long as you've done it within 15 minutes, it'll show your last one. It's 364. Her target is 120, but of course it's kind of plus or minus 30, so they have it all figured up for us here. So we got a note because it's over 240, that she's high. We need to, make sure her sight's fine and make sure we've checked ketones and just keep a watch on her since she's high. Confirm that. We want to see the result, and that's going to show us the math and what it figured out for us. It figured out that right now, for her carb ratio, she needs 0.83. Her BG warrants 4 units and 86 or 88. I'm looking at this through the phone. 88, so 4.88 for the BG. But she has insulin on board. So it has a minus sign because it's taken that much into account. So it's automatically doing all of this math for us. It adds what she needs for her carb, what she needs for her correction, and takes off what's already in her system. And it gives me a total of 565. And so I would dial up. Oop, way past it, but I'm not going to go through with it anyway, so it doesn't matter that it's correct. And I would hit go. And as soon as you hit go, you're delivering. So don't hit go unless you're ready. There's no screen after that. It's you're in the thick of it. You're giving insulin. So let me go back to what we were going to do and do easy BG. And it's taken a while to think tonight, apparently. So it tells me her blood sugar is 364, and I know she's high. So show result, and it says it did the math again on here, but you don't see the carbs since we didn't enter any. So it says she needs 485. And because she's just right over here goofing off on the floor, it'll work from this range. I'm going to hit go. And she's getting insulin. Haley, come here so I can show your pump what it's doing right now. So while this is going, you see this on the pump. Do not touch anything or it'll stop the delivery. And it counts down per unit as it's going on the meter. And the pump turns off as there's nothing else to do there. And I can go through and comment and, put in here it was, after dinner, or if it was, before basketball or whatever. But you can also, one thing that I didn't quite realize on here, if you press and hold the OK button, it turns on a backlight, which is really handy at night. So the only other thing I think we should show you is this. And you have, of course, you have your OK, your up, down, and your screen brightness thing here, and your quick button. This button, you tap this, and you go right into just giving units. So if you know that, I don't know, let's think of something. I think a Toll House cookie is 19 carbs. And if your ratio is 1 to 19, then you would know that's only 1 unit. So you can just go ahead and put up 1 unit and go, and not have to go through, the menus to get there. So But at any point, it doesn't matter if you're in a menu or anything, and you need to lock your screen. We keep ours locked. You press and hold both the up and down rockers. Locked. You do the same to unlock. So here we are. But one thing I've found, if you have a time that it says, pump not delivered, or X many units of this much delivered, where it didn't give you all of it, I can't really find a place in the meter that's convenient to look at it. So I go to status, and it shows you all these different things and her last bolus and how much she has on board. And it told me that I last gave her a bolus of 485 at 10:51. So it would only show, however much it gave. So you can also go through history and see bolus, and it shows this much of this much was given, so it was all complete. And there's been times that this would have been, 2 of 485. So I need to give 285 on top of that because it didn't finish. That's only happened a handful of times when, like me or Haley's accidentally hit a button. So I hope this has helped. Let me know if there's anything else on here that I didn't go through that you're curious about. One thing, don't worry about these chips and all this kind of, most of this stuff on the screen will come off with one of those the adhesive remover wipes or an alcohol pad. And one little bit of wear and tear is this. This was only here, I guess, about 3 weeks. It had already done that. So I'm not sure what that's about. And I know they'll replace it. I just don't want to have it replace this early in the game. But there you go. Let me know if there's anything else I can show you.